Thank you so much for joining us tonight. I'm Dr. Kani Ilangovan. I'm a child, adolescent, and adult psychiatrist, mother of two feminists, and board member of Make Us Visible New Jersey and the Pluribus Unum project. Make Us Visible New Jersey is a coalition of students, parents, educators, and community members working for the inclusion of Asian American and Pacific Islander studies in New Jersey K-12 education. I'm very excited to share with you the amazing work that's being done in school districts across New Jersey in implementing AAPI curriculum, and to highlight the work of one of the leaders in AAPI curriculum implementation, Cherry Hill School District. I would like to begin by introducing two of our panelists. Allison Staffen has been part of the Cherry Hill Public Schools since 1991. She is currently serving as District Curriculum Supervisor of Curriculum and Instruction. Allison began her career as a social studies teacher, spending 12 years in the classroom at Cherry Hill High School West. She just completed her 18th year as assistant principal at High School West and was honored to be named the 2016-2017 New Jersey Visionary Assistant Principal of the Year through NJPSA. Christy Lee is an English teacher at the Cherry Hill High School West. This is her 7th year in education with experience in both public and private schools. She's passionate about teaching empathy through literature and equipping students with critical thinking skills to be responsible and kind citizens in the real world. She's particularly passionate about bridging the gap of inequality in schools. She believes that literacy and meaningful relationships with students are the bedrock for student success. For this end, she is also a mentor in the At Promise mentorship program at West, an after-school program for at-risk kids. The next year, she'll be teaching Asian American Pacific Island Studies, the first of its kind in the state of New Jersey. Together with curriculum experts in Cherry Hill School District, Make Us Visible New Jersey, and other stakeholders in the local community, she hopes to bring more awareness to the AAPI community. When she's not in the classroom, you can find her serving in the church community, at Grace Ministry, or chasing her energetic toddlers at the park. We'd love to hear about what you're doing at Cherry Hill, Allison and Christy. Thank you so much for joining us.
Hi, everybody. I'm Allison Staffen from Cherry Hill Public Schools. I'm joined with Christy Lee, and I'm honored and thrilled to be given this opportunity on behalf of Cherry Hill Public Schools and the Princeton Library and Make Us Visible NJ to really talk about the work that Cherry Hill Public Schools has been doing as we are launching our AAPI studies program and then the work we've done behind the scenes to get ready to do that. So it's an honor and a privilege to do that and to share that with you. And one of the things I wanted to start with that I think is really important is kind of framing Cherry Hill Public Schools, who we are, where we are. So we are in South Jersey. We are a township of approximately 74,000 residents. And with that, that makes us the 12th largest municipality in the state of New Jersey and the 12th largest school system in the state of New Jersey. So we have 19 different schools, and my direct responsibility are the 5 secondary schools and the alternative high school. And with that supervision, I do curriculum and instruction for English, social studies, and world language. And when Governor Murphy signed the initiative to have AAPA studies as a mandate in the state of New Jersey, that definitely fell under my purview. So I'm one of those people that will make sure that everything that we're intended to do gets done. And I'm very, very fortunate that Make Us Visible New Jersey stepped in and started contacting us immediately. They were actually contacting us prior to my taking my new role. I was not sure what that contact was all about, but I was certainly glad to make those connections and be able to work with Jessica Kim for Make Us Visible, as well as Kani, and getting me kind of started in understanding the importance of the work of the AAPI mandate, what that looked like for us in Cherry Hill and how it was that we were going to go about getting started with that work. So it meant weekly meetings really to catch up and to become informed. And they were phenomenal in introducing me to incredible educators across the country. So we weren't limited to just New Jersey, but across the country, I was meeting people from the Asian American Education Project. I was meeting people from the Immigrant History Initiative, as well as other members of Make Us Visible New Jersey, which made the work really incredible to dive into and really to have a sense of what it is that we were going to do and the direction we were going in. So one of the things I started to do as the curriculum supervisor is really to audit our curriculum and to see in the social studies where AAPI studies was sitting, as well as in the English department. And when I did that, you notice, even as a former history teacher, that it's very limited snapshots of AAPI history that our students have as they are students of American history or even world civilizations. And it's really what the textbook manufacturers felt the importance of putting into those textbooks, so that when we looked at that curriculum, it was, sometimes the negative things. And I am a true believer in the work of Goldie Muhammad in cultivating genius and making it so that our kids feel value and valuable in the curriculum that they're studying. I never want any student to walk out of any of our classrooms feeling less than because of the way they were portrayed in a textbook or in a curriculum. So that was really, really important to me as I was auditing our curriculum to see what was happening with AAPI studies and where our gaps might be, was to make sure that through the introductions of Make Us Visible, that I was reaching out to the right people to help us find those places to celebrate the joy and resilience of the AAPI community. With that, I looked at our textbooks and the literature, novels, and memoir that were being studied in the schools. And because I supervised grades 6 to 12, I was able to look and see that, yes, in fact, we have AAPI authors, memoir, and literature in all of those grade levels. We are fortunate enough to have Chinese Cinderella required in the 8th grade, Amy Tan's The Joy Luck Club in the 10th grade, and Lahiri's The Namesake in the 12th grade. And although it was nice to see that it is in all 12, in all of our grades 6 to 12, it's only required in those 3. So I do want to make sure that as we're writing curriculum and we're learning about it, that we're finding those opportunities to find comfort in teaching about cultures that we may not be familiar with. Christy has firsthand experience in what it was like to teach The Namesake this year to her seniors as a first-year teacher in Cherry Hill High School West. And I want her to be able to have some time to explain what that looked like for her students and what some of those outcomes were. Christy, I'm going to turn it over to you.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. My name is Christy Lee, and I am a teacher here at Cherry Hill West High School. This is my 7th year in teaching and my first year in the district, and it has been such a great year teaching my first text by an AAPI author in all the different schools I've been in. And I recall teaching The Namesake, starting off the year with The Namesake this year, and the students just loved it. I loved the book because it's such a good book, but also I found that students of all different backgrounds were able to relate to the story. And one student who doesn't identify as AAPI came up to me at the end of the unit and told me, like, wow, Mrs. Lee, like, this was me. Even though I'm not Indian and I've never changed my name, he could really relate to the experience of being a child of an immigrant and developing his unique consciousness in the United States. And so I think it's great that our district infuses different AAPI studies within our the different disciplines throughout 6th through 12th grade. And obviously it's incredible that not only are we putting it in the courses, but also we are providing a special course this next year for AAPI studies, and I have the honor of being able to teach that class. I'm really excited because this is the class that I wish I had as a high school student. And it's going to be a survey class about all of AAPI studies for a semester. And we're in the process of developing this coursework using the framework of Dr. Soyon An and Dr. Noreen Nassim Rodriguez. And we're participating in different PDs with AAPI Montclair and Make Us Visible New Jersey to make sure that all of our students are seen and they are respected in our curriculum. We plan to tackle sensitive pieces through developing community in the classroom. So one of the biggest things is that we're going to start off the year talking a lot about our personal identity, about culture, and different ways that we can have courageous classroom conversations. I truly believe that empathy is one of the highest forms of critical thinking, and this is why we always start off with an exploration of self. Students bring a rich heritage and culture into the classroom, and it's really about tapping into those experiences and helping students see themselves and others through windows and mirrors in the stories and texts that we read.
Thank you, and I'm really excited to have that new curriculum added to our course of study, it's really important for us to make sure that our students see themselves in the courses that they take and that they're excited and enthusiastic about it. It's also really important for us that students understand who they're sitting next to in class, that we all bring something so valuable to the classroom setting, and living in such a diverse community is so important for us to really understand what that diversity looks like and what those stories truly are. So we're really excited to take this journey together as we're writing curriculum and bringing in the experts. We know that we don't have all the answers, but we're hoping to tap into some of the people who have answers for us and are be able to just share that information with everybody. In our next segment, you'll hear more about our process, who we've tapped into, and the work we were able to do with them. But hopefully this gives everybody kind of an overview of what's happening in Cherry Hill and where we've gone since Governor Murphy signed that bill in January of last year. Christy, did I forget anything?
Not that I know of.
Okay.
That's great.
To add to that, because this work is bigger than all of us, and it is a cross-content course, so it can be taught by a social studies teacher or an English teacher. So of course, Christy comes from the English department, and her counterpart at High School East is also part of the English department. We didn't want to make it literature heavy, which we certainly could as English teachers. We can find some of that really rich AAPI literature and want to use that, and memoir. But we had to make sure that we were incorporating both the history and the English part of it as kind of that cross-content integration. And in doing that, we are very, very cognizant of making sure that the students recognize some of these topics in their history courses. So to do that, we used the Immigrant History Initiative came in February and did a full day in-service training with all of our high school social studies teachers, where they took them through those same kinds of topics that Christy's talking about, just to kind of give them a frame of reference. So then we hit certain specific topics in a scope and sequence of American history and world civilizations. When these cultures come into play, they're able to expand what the textbook's not providing them as far as information. In addition to that, for the middle schools, because we want to lay foundation and do a cohesive 6 to 12 scope and sequence, we brought in the Asian American Education Project, and they came in and did a combination of literature, memoir, and history background for the middle school teachers. So all of the middle school ELA and social studies teachers were given a full day workshop in scope and sequence, so that the English teachers could really understand what was happening societally with the AAPI community when either a piece of this literature or memoir was written, or what was happening historically, so that they could put it into context. And so that the history teachers, when they were hitting topics that could be taught collaboratively between English and social studies, they had context in which to do it. So as they looked at pieces of memoir and pieces of literature, they were able to contextualize it into their social studies curriculum in an authentic way where it didn't feel forced. It's very, very natural. But again, it's going to start laying foundations for students who will take the AAPI studies course in order to have a richer experience with the AAPI studies. With this, it's really important to know as well that this all came out of a survey. So we surveyed the kids if we were at enhancing our course of study book at the high school level with an opportunity to have ethnic studies, which would they like? And AAPI by far was the #1. So we're fortunate that when course selection came up, students chose to take it and they want to be there. And I feel like we're going to build something really spectacular here to be able to do it. And like I said, it's cross content, so it can be taught in either social studies or English. Right now it's English, and we're really excited about that, but we'll find that nice balance given the fact that we have some connections to be able to help us do that. Immigrant History Initiative was amazing. They provided workshop opportunities for the staff to really play with materials and experiences so that they could really get the kids in with a historical lens, right? So they're acting as historians, not just students of history. And with the English part of it, they had an opportunity to experience really important works of literature, memoir, in order to really capitalize on the story of the AAPI community and what they have done to establish in the American society. With that, we also know that the first time we're running it, it is intentional, that is in second semester, so that we have an opportunity to do something really special for AAPI Heritage Month. So this year, both high schools are really doing something for AAPI Heritage, but I'm hoping next year it becomes more of a district-wide piece as we run these courses and have more and more students involved in what's happening. Christy, did I miss anything?
Well, I was going to say, and I'm really excited for May because we're having a multicultural night at our school. And I know that's happening over at High School East as well. We have culture clubs on campus, and the Asian Student Association is definitely going to take part in that. They're also coming on every single day and like giving us you know, statistics and facts about Asian American contributors. And so it's been really great to see API heritage celebrated on at least on a building wide level. Yes. Allison, did you want to add anything?
I don't think so. I'm thinking we covered everything, but if there's questions, I'm, you know, happy to answer them when the appropriate time happens.
Yeah, there's one
sorry,
question. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
I'm sorry, I was actually going to say one more thing. I love our district so much. One of the things that I'm particularly proud about is I know the district is making a concerted effort to look for teachers of color as well. And that includes Asian American Pacific Islander teachers. I think it's important that students learn about their history from people who look like them, right? And so part of that also looks like having equitable hiring practices and making sure that there are AAPI teachers on campus. And it's more than just the STEM field, like there are more of us out there. And so, you know, if districts do the search, I am confident that you will find more AAPI teachers to represent in the humanities field.
And we do make a very concerted effort to make sure that we diversify our faculty, because we have a very diverse community and a very diverse school population. So as Christy said, it's really important to us in finding the right people so that our students come to school feeling like they're with people who look like them and then understand them. Did we miss anything? Kani, anything?
You guys did an amazing job, and you're really innovators and leaders in New Jersey. I'm so grateful to you both. There was one question in the Q&A. I don't know if you feel like you already answered it, but it's when you started this process, was it something you just did in the district? Was it an announcement made? Was the decision welcomed or questioned?
So Governor Murphy kind of started the ball rolling for us. You know, I'm a rule follower. And when that mandate came through, there was no question that we needed to do something, and we needed to do something significant, right? We couldn't do something as a softball. It needed to be something robust and valued. And, you know, I take Goldie Muhammad's work to heart every time I'm looking to lead the way in something. I don't see it as an initiative. I see it as a process and part of our planning and implementation of a good, solid, rich curriculum. And I've always felt that it's really important that our students see themselves in what they're learning. They really, they react better when they can relate to topics. And as Christy was talking about the namesake, I remember the first time I read it, I related to it. So I'm thinking about, you know, my family is not first generation AAPI coming to America, but I too had a problem with my name as a child, as strange as that sounds. And so I could relate to that character and what he was doing. So it was, to me, it was a no-brainer, for lack of a better phrase at that moment, to really just latch on and see what we could make of it. And then really talking about, we already have an African-American Studies required course. And what a nice way to have a companion course for our students to be able to kind of round out their understanding of the students that they sit next to. It's really important for our kids to see value in who they're sharing classroom space and time with. High school goes by fast, but so much happens in that 4 years that I think that it was embraced. Our Board of Education was wholeheartedly behind it when they knew it was going to become a new course in our course catalog. They were more than supportive and will continue to support the endeavor as we continue to process and create our curriculum.
Yeah, one of the reasons why I feel so confident and excited about this is because we have that district level, board level support. So it's really important that when we promote anti-racist initiatives, that it's united, right? And that they have our backs. Also, like a lot of people, way back in the day when I first started my career, it was a predominantly white school, and we we're starting, like, am I totally blanking on the name? What is it called when you have clubs on campus that are like single race or single, Allison, do you know what I'm talking about?
Affinity clubs.
Thank you. Oh my gosh. Affinity groups, right? We were starting affinity groups for the first time and people couldn't understand why those are necessary. I could see maybe people pushing back even with a class like this, but I just encourage people, like, people need to see windows and mirrors in their educational experience. And I always tell my students, like, empathy is one of the highest forms of critical thinking. Even if it's not exactly your experience, there is value in learning about other people. And so I just encourage you all. I know that we're probably all at different places and trying to bring this into our classrooms, whether it's big, like starting a whole new class, or starting small, introducing different writers and artists into your classroom. Like, you know, just try somewhere. And I know that if you create a culture of just empathy and respect in your classroom, it can go very far.
Right. And I also have to say that beyond our Board of Education being very supportive, none of this has happened without the support of our superintendent, Dr. Malash, who was the first to put me in touch with the Make Us Visible New Jersey, and super excited to support us along the way in having, meeting time with Jess, Kim, and Kani, and then with me, and hearing and just so supportive of the work that we're doing, as well as Dr. Morton, who is an assistant superintendent in charge of the secondary schools. So both of them have been our greatest cheerleaders behind the Board of Education in order to make sure that everything is happening the way it's supposed to happen. So it's coming from the schools up, but it is so supported by our superintendency that we really, sometimes I felt like I was running in quicksand, but the reality is that I think we're making great strides and we have tremendous support.
Everyone is blown away by you guys. I don't know if you're seeing the questions in the comments in the chat, but you guys are really inspirations and innovators, and we're really grateful for you to being these educational leaders for the state and the nation, and so grateful to you for the very important work you're doing. And next, I'd like to highlight some of the wonderful work being done at the Princeton Public Schools, Springfield Public Schools, and West Orange School District. And we'll also share a list of the names of schools have completed AAPI Curriculum PD. So I'm just going to share the screen. Do you all see the slides?
Yes.
Okay, great. So Princeton Public Schools was kind enough to send us an update about what they're doing in their school district, and special thanks to their whole curriculum development team. So they had the AAPI and Lunar New Year celebrations this year, and led by teachers and various school student groups, the district hosted wonderful Lunar New Year celebrations and is planning daily announcements and reminders to honor AAPI month in May. And they had a day of dialogue. Sorry about that. They had a day of dialogue on Friday, April 28th. Princeton High School hosted a day of dialogue for students to host conversations about their culture and traditions. And AAPI students were represented at that time. And in March, they had their annual Asian Fest. This Asian Fest is their 16th annual Asian Festival at Princeton High School, and it's a collaboration between the Mandarin and Japanese language classes, the Asian American Club, the Chinese Club, Korean Club, Japanese Club, and Bollywood Dance Club. I love the pan-ethnicity that they have there. It provides students to show a chance to show their knowledge of culture and language learned during classes and within clubs. And most importantly, this event is a combined effort to share Asian culture with the community. Geared towards participants of all ages, activities included Chinese yo-yo, Chinese calligraphy, cultural games, origami, henna station, and much more. Other festive displays, demonstrations, and activities were presented throughout the evening. They have a variety of clubs. They have the AAPI Club, the Anime Club, the Asian American Club, Chinese Music Ensemble, Japanese Club, Korean Culture Club, and Bollywood Club. In terms of curriculum, in the elementary curriculum, they're including AAPI experiences through their rich curricular offerings at the elementary level. They have read aloud choices from AAPI authors, built in AAPI mentor text during their units of study, and have classroom libraries that reflect AAPI heritage and experiences. Further, AAPI immigration experiences are included in their social studies curriculum. And they also have resources from Teachers College that are shared with staff. And I'll put that link in the chat later. In terms of humanities in grades 6 through 12, they focus on Asian American and Pacific Islander experience in their civics and middle school social studies classes, ancient China, ancient India, feudal Japan, and the experience of AAPI immigrants, and representative texts in their 6 through 12 English language arts curriculum, and throughout the high school world history and US history courses, and in sociology. They also offer middle and high school pathways to racial literacy courses, with the identity-based high school course being a graduation requirement. In addition, they offer a semester-long racial literacy course to dive deeper into racism and racial justice. In world language, they began offering Mandarin in 7th grade and have Mandarin and Japanese courses at the high school. These courses are led by dynamic teachers who include conversations about Asian history, culture, and more. They also have an East Asian Studies course under the department umbrella. In science, they have Heritage Month celebrations are a vital point of insertion of multicultural content into the science curriculum. By recognizing Asian American Pacific Islander Daisy American contributions to the world of STEM, they seek to honor the heroes and heritage of Asians in the Americas. Throughout the year, biographies of many lesser-known scientists, engineers, and innovators of color are explored as models and inspirations for students as they begin thinking about careers and personal agency. In chemistry, for example, the Ikigai project invites students to think about their own pathways to joy and purpose as learners as they fulfill their mission of our school and district. Each content area also designs projects and learning activities that make the lives of Asian Americans around the world more visible. Sample learning includes exploration of indigenous agricultural and mining practices, Eurasian plate tectonics, Asian culture, philosophy, and mythology applied to astronomy, Asian American STEM activism, the intersection of Asian culture and global STEM innovation, what exactly is umami, green tea chemistry, napalm, palm oil and energy alternatives, nuclear power on small island communities, what we learned from Fukushima, and STEM contributions of Asians in World War II era. On family movie night, The Man Who Knew Infinity, they share that it's a story of Srinivasa Ramanujam, and building bridges, modeling structural bridges from around the world. Finally, in visual and performance arts, in Princeton Public Schools, the Visual and Performance Arts Department, they believe that the arts are a vehicle for students to make connections across content areas and cultural boundaries. At all levels, they incorporate a wide range of repertoire and materials from around the world, including the Asian Pacific region. We also believe that the study of different cultures should take place throughout the school year, not just during the month of celebration. Some of the curricular and co-curricular activities include, in Princeton High School, in AP Art History, students engage with 3 full units dedicated to the following content areas: South, East, and Southeast Asia, Western and Central Asia, and Oceania. Multiple contemporary artists are also highlighted, including Emily Kame Knaure and Michelle Tuffery. In Princeton High School, in their spring concert, their choirs performed repertoire from around the world, including a performance of the Dravidian Ditharam by the Cantus Choir. And this piece embodies traces of ragas from the Carnatic music of South Indian and his Hindustani classical music. In Princeton Middle School, in addition to their curricular experiences, students have the opportunity to join the anime club, facilitated by one of their visual arts teachers. Students study the Japanese origins of this art form and its current worldwide influence. They also create their own anime-inspired artwork. And in the elementary schools, Mrs. Banks, one of the string teachers, was a resident of Japan in the year after her undergrad study. She brings this life experience into the classroom, including the music and art from the region. Her orchestra students learn to improvise with the 5-note pentatonic scale, the basis of many Asian folk tunes. And they learn to play music from Japan, Korea, and China. Next, Springfield Public Schools. And the month of May is known as AAPI month. Springfield Public Schools is committed to incorporating AAPI studies into our curriculum, not only in May, but throughout the school year. This year, teachers across grade levels had professional development training for AAPI. The training modeled ways to include AAPI materials into the curriculum while also providing teachers with a variety of resources. AAPI studies are included in multiple disciplines district-wide. For example, at the elementary level, works and novels are read that are written by famous AAPI. Stories are analyzed to identify the cultural differences of all people. Students construct a culture kit, which include food, language, clothing, music, and dance from a variety of countries. The Chinese New Year is celebrated. World language classes make connections to AAPI cultures by making comparisons to languages they're studying in class. And students use their geography skills to map immigration from Asia. At the middle and high school levels, students research cultural practices of different time periods to make correlations between cultures and tie that to American culture and upbringings. Folktales are introduced and analyzed, and discussions are conducted pertaining to the struggles AAPI have encountered in history. And students complete research projects focusing on a person or character, with many students selecting individuals of Asian American Pacific Islander descent. While these are only some specific lessons that are taught, there are many other lessons where AAPI are highlighted in Springfield Public Schools. And finally, West Orange School District. During the 2022 and 2023 school year, our social studies teachers continued their professional development from the 2021 to 2022 school year with the Asian American Education Project. Through attending multiple live professional developments and reviewing pre-recorded trainings provided by the South Asian American Digital Archive and the Immigrant History Initiative, our teachers are enhancing the educational experience of our students. We are continually improving our classroom instruction by teaching diverse perspectives and authentic voices within the historical narrative, with the goal of the seamless integration of the histories of all people who contributed to American and world history. The Page Act, the Vincent Chin case, the contributions of Chinese transcontinental railroad workers, the Chinese massacre of 1871, Tape versus Hurley, the US versus Wong Kim Ark, Angel Island, the celebration of Children's Day, Read Alouds by Grace Lin, Joanna Ho, and Pooja Makijani are just a few examples of the AAPI content which is taught within the West Orange Public Schools. Additionally, we are using resources from the Smithsonian Asian Pacific Library Center, the Library of Congress, Angel Island Immigration Station Foundation, the National Park Service, the Japanese American National Museum, PBS, the Asian American Education Project, the Immigrant History Initiative, South Asian American Digital Archive, and other organizations/museums to help our learners better understand the historical narrative. While we continue to enhance the learning experience of our students, we will not grow complacent in our accomplishments. We will continue to teach all perspectives and voices in the story of history, and this will allow our learners to not only have a better understanding of past events, but to examine, analyze, and synthesize how these events contribute to our society today. Oh, sorry, one more thing I wanted to share with you. So I'm so excited by the work of all these districts, and these are the school districts that have completed AAPI Curriculum PD. So Cherry Hill, as they mentioned, completed IHI and Asian American Education Project PD. Cranford did PD with Marianne Dupadua of New York Historical Society and with Samip Malik of SADA, South Asian American Digital Archive. Edison Middle School completed PD with SADA. Fort Lee completed with Asian American Education Project. High Point Regional School District completed with Asian American Education Project. Homedale completed a New York Historical Society, and so did Jersey City Public Schools. Milburn completed Asian American Education Project. Monroe is working with New York Historical Society. They're doing a half-hour session with them every week and going through different cases together. Montclair completed Immigrant History Initiative PD, as well as Parsippany and Plainfield and Princeton. And Princeton also did Asian American Education Project in 2022. Ridgewood did Asian American Education Project. Scotch Plains Fanwood completed New York Historical Society Professional Development. Somerset did Immigrant History Initiatives, and Springfield completed professional development with Seema Kumar of the Pluribus Unum project. Westbrook Middle School did Asian American Education Project, as well as West Orange. And West Windsor Plainsboro is scheduling a SADA presentation for teachers and students in the high schools. So I wanted to open it up to questions from the audience. It looks like there's another question. Okay, I think the first question is for you, Christy. You shared a story of a young person enjoying the namesake. Is there anything you've learned in the curriculum development or in this journey that has surprised or delighted you?
So this is probably one of my favorite units this year because the book was just so good. So I'm first generation, I guess in my culture we say second generation, but first generation, my parents were the first generation that immigrated here, and I had a Korean name. So I definitely resonated with the main character. But the framing question that we talked about is how much of ourselves is like impacted by those who came before us and like decisions that were made before us, and then how much of that do we decide to like take forward, or how much of that carries on forward with us. I don't know if that makes sense. I had it a lot more eloquently done in my slides for my classroom, but that was kind of the driving question for the unit. And I think that's something that a lot of students can relate to, because as adolescents about to become adults, they have to decide who they are. This again ties back to our conversation about the culture tree and the deep roots of our values. A lot of that is passed down to us from people that we may not have even met that came before us, right? And so we do a lot of self-reflection. Before we even read this book, we actually start off with creating a poem. I don't know if you've read a poem called For My People by Margaret Walker. Margaret Walker is an African-American poet, and she basically writes this beautiful poem about who she's dedicating her life's work to and all the different people that have impacted her along the way. And so after we do a discussion about the culture tree, I have students kind of take a couple of classes to write this poem and to acknowledge the different like fingerprints of others in their lives. And then we do this unit in tandem with our narrative unit, which is the first writing unit of the year and writing assignment for the year. So we do a lot of work in seeing and tracking Gogol, the main character's growth, and understanding how, what are the implications of decisions he makes. We talk a lot about characterization. So in observing and learning about Gogol, I have students also reflect about themselves, and then the final writing pieces for them to write their personal college essay, but write a personal story about themselves. And so overall, I felt like it was very cohesive this year, and students took a lot out of it. I was really surprised at how much I was so invested into this unit, because again, it's not every day where we get to, I've taught and I've moved around a lot. This is my probably my 5th or 6th building in my short career. And because I've moved so much, I've been able to see so many different curriculums in the East Coast and West Coast. And it's not very often when you get to read a book that's AAPI by an AAPI author. And this was just so good. And I personally resonated with it a lot. So I think, yeah, kids did too.
And one of the things I wanted to add was to support our English teachers in teaching rich texts like this that often come up with very difficult conversations. I did bring in University of Pennsylvania's Jessica Whitelaw to do critical literacy with the staff so that they felt more comfortable, because the one thing I didn't want to happen is for us to take on adding more AAPI, adding more contemporary pieces, and have the staff feel uncomfortable that they were going to face certain topics or themes that would make them uncomfortable and therefore make their students uncomfortable and shy away from it. So a lot of what Christy's talking about, the entire high school and middle school ELA curriculum or ELA faculty was trained in how to handle those contemporary issues that can sometimes be uncomfortable.
Thank you both. And then the next question is for me. What has surprised or delighted or frustrated me since the legislation was signed? Well, Allison and Christy, you are a delight. So I'm very grateful to you both. You're very inspiring. It's amazing. Like, you know, the bill was only passed into law January 2022, and you guys hit the ground running and are like making it happen in your schools. So proud of you, and so proud of the districts who I shared their update with today, and really grateful. We've met with, you know, more than 30 schools, and they really seem to be making a sincere effort to implement the AAPI curriculum, and I really appreciate that. But as you know, New Jersey has over 600 districts, and what's frustrating for me is New Jersey is a home rule state, so each district is like its own kingdom. And New Jersey has some of the most progressive educational policies in America, yet the state doesn't actually have an accountability mechanism to hold the districts accountable to teach those mandates. And since there are nearly 600 school districts in New Jersey, not counting charter or private schools, nearly 600 school boards have to decide how to implement these standards. And many districts will have these mandates in their policy, but if no one is demanding it, they might do only the bare minimum, you know? So actually, it's really important as parents and students to advocate for the implementation of the AAPI curriculum. And all the other mandates are very important, the Amistad curriculum, Holocaust, the LGBTQ, you know. And one great thing also delighting is the NJEA is creating a consortium to try to help develop curriculum for these mandates, and also to just diversify our curriculum in general. So I'm grateful for that. And, you know, if I had your guys' school and my childhood, it would have been so amazing. So I'm so grateful that you guys are doing this work, and I see that your students are really responding to it. That's amazing that that course, the AAPI course, was the #1 requested course in your school. So you're really meeting a very important need. Are there any other questions?
I have a question,
Sure.
sort of your closing question. What, I guess for each of you, sort of what's your vision or hopes and dreams for next steps, and what you hope to achieve, say, in the next 5 years? No pressure.
Not feeling pressured at all. My hope is really that all of our students in Cherry Hill Public Schools have an opportunity to see themselves in our curriculum and feel valued and valuable, so that they understand, yes, there's going to be difficult, bumpy parts of their history that we're going to cover, but that we're also going to celebrate everything that they have contributed, that their ancestors have contributed to American society and to the world, right? We teach world cultures as well. So my hope is that our kids walk away from high school, having been a Cherry Hill Public School student at whatever point in their academic career they start with us, and just really feel like they had a really rich, welcoming, warm experience, and that there's a tremendous pride for them as they walk out of high school as a Cherry Hill Public Schools graduate, and move on into their lives, that they feel like the experiences they had in Cherry Hill really set them up for that future, and that they felt respected as well as valued as a member of our school community.
Ditto. No, you said that so eloquently, Allison. But I guess for me, of course, is to build empathy and community within our school. But if I'm very honest, I would say my first priority is for my AAPI students to feel like they are heard and seen and valued, and that they would be proud to be AAPI. I remember it was not a cool thing when I was growing up, and I always felt like a sense of shame and not belonging. And if this course could, you know, help one student, even one student, feel yeah, that they matter, I think that really would go a long way. I'm just imagining my little kids. I have a 3-year-old and a 1-year-old. Like, wouldn't it be cool if they can grow up in a high school or in a school district, seeing themselves, and like what difference would that make in the trajectory of their lives? So
I love what you both said. And, you know, for me, my goals would be for every child to see themselves reflected in their curriculum, to know that their lives matter, you know, that their communities matter, that we all built this society together. But I don't think that's going to happen in 5 years. But we can keep like progress towards that in 5 years. That's what I'm hoping for.
10 years felt like a lot of pressure. 20 years to pick a number.
I'm okay with a year. I'm just by the end of next year. Where are we?
Yeah. But yeah, I'm really thrilled about all the work you're doing. Are there any other questions? Otherwise, I have one more slideshow I can share. Okay, I'm going to share our curriculum resources and professional development resources. So there are 6 agencies in New Jersey that are willing to come in person to do PD at your schools. The Institute for Diversity and Social Justice, New York Historical Society, the Pluribus Unum Project, the Asian American Education Project, South Asian American Digital Archive, and the URI Education Project. And I'm just going to share the slideshow, but I just wanted to let you know that they're available, and you know, they're quite affordable. In addition, you can get funding assistance from Teach Asian American Stories. You can request a grant from them. Other resources, we've talked about Immigrant History Initiative a lot, and we owe a lot of gratitude to them. You know, when the bill was passed, they really hit the ground running. And as you saw from the list of PDs that were done, they did a lot of those PDs. Unfortunately, they are not going to be doing PDs anymore, but their resources they created are still available online, and their K-5 lesson plans are aligned with Common Core and New Jersey State curriculum standards. And they also have AP US history lessons, and there is a pre-recorded PD that people could see, including AAPI Voices in Civil Rights and History, and we highly recommend that one. In Illinois, which was the first state to pass the AAPI Curriculum Bill, they created all these wonderful resources for K-5, 6 to 12, and also they have an asynchronous AAPI curriculum PD opportunity. So teachers can go through it on the computer and get a full training in AAPI curriculum. The NJEA has been a wonderful partner for us, and last year we had an on-demand webinar series, including a lot of the curriculum providers that I mentioned, like IHI and the Pluribus Unum Project. Asian American Voices for Education, their website launched yesterday, and it's wonderful, and they have a treasure trove of lesson plans, journal articles, Heritage Month kit resources, curriculum guides, and book lists on a wide selection of topics. Dr. So-Yoon An, who is a social studies educator, she teaches teachers how to teach social studies. She has made a lot of her lesson plans available on the website. And these were just a selection of 4, but there are many more on the website. It's really worth checking out. Montclair University hosted Centering AAPI Women in U.S. History, and it would be a great chance for you to check out New York Historical Society's PD with Marian de Padua. It has a recording of it and her resources. And then this is really exciting. I don't know if you've heard that Yuri Kochiyama and Malcolm X share a birthday, May 19th, and they were even born in the same year. And that's why this website is called the May 19th Project. And it's teaching about cross-community solidarity between Asian Americans and Black Americans. So they have really short, like 3-minute videos that teach you a lot of unknown history about solidarity between Asian Americans and Black Americans. And I love it that they're building that cross-community solidarity. And there are some other resources. We're excited to hear which framework you're using. We were fans of Dr. So-Yoon An and Dr. Noreen Nassim Rodriguez, and she has collected a lot of curriculum resources on this. This is a curriculum for secondary school students. And in California, there's an AAPI multimedia textbook, and teachers can sign up to be beta testing it if you're interested, and you can go through the lesson plans with them. And also we have some book lists on here. Since we have time, I'm going to talk about the different PD people. So IDSJ is with Dr. Kathy Joshi at Fairleigh Dickinson University, and she is actually leading a PD on May 16th, and it costs $75, but it's a full day PD. And if you need a scholarship assistant, Teach Asian American Stories would help provide a scholarship for it. She's also available to come to your school and teach, and she's excellent. Marian de Padua is from the New York Historical Society, and she's also excellent, and she's going to be leading a live session at the Princeton Public Library on May 23rd. And, you know, she's wonderful, and she concentrates on women and AAPI history. SADA, South Asian American Digital Archive, is also wonderful. And Sami Malik, you can see a talk by him and get a taste of what SADA does. They also published the Our Stories book, which is a 480-page book of South Asian American stories. And they have a companion curriculum guide, which is available for free. And the Asian American Education Project offers free virtual PD to anyone. So if you wanted, you could schedule a free virtual PD for your school. And in addition, they offer paid in-person PD. They also have over 50 lesson plans for grades K through 12. And the Pluribus Unum project, it's actually like Make Us Visible has transitioned to the Pluribus Unum project. And we are advocating for pluralistic studies so that all children are reflected in their school. And Seema developed, with Dr. Soyun An's article, she developed this PD called Paving the Road for Brown versus Board of Education, a story of American pluralism. And she talks about desegregation in multiple ethnic communities. In the Chinese American community, the Native American community, Mexican American community, as well as others. And also we have Windows and Mirrors, which is for LGBTQ intersectionality with AAPI studies. And Yuri Education Project has been doing wonderful work in many other states, and they would love to come and do this work in New Jersey as well. So thank you all. I don't know if there are any other questions.
I don't think so, but I'm really grateful to you and Allison and Christy for coming this evening and sharing about all of the work that you've been doing. I'm so grateful that we can share it with our community.
Thank you so much for giving us this pace skim. And I just wanted to thank Kim Dorman and the Princeton Public Library and Jeannie Herman. They've been incredible allies for us and uplifting our work and spreading the word. And we're very grateful to you all. So thank you. And Allison and Christy, you guys are an inspiration to us all. Thank you so much. We love to keep hearing the story of how it develops at Cherry Hill. I just wanted to say one thing about Cherry Hill. The AAPI Curriculum Bill would not have passed without Cherry Hill, because we were trying to get on the agenda of the Assembly Education Committee. And there were a lot of bills, their agenda was already full, and it seemed like we would have to wait till the next legislative cycle. But we didn't want to wait, because our kids were suffering now. You know, 1 in 3 parents was reporting their child experienced a hate incident in school. And Cherry Hill hosted a rally in their town, which was the hometown of the chair of the Assembly Education Committee. And she was moved to see how important this bill was. And she put it on the agenda. So, you know, Cherry Hill, this bill would not have passed without you. And it's so fitting that you guys are leaders in the state and the nation and, you know, implementing AAPI curriculum. So grateful to you all. And also, I think it was Christy and Jessica's church that hosted that rally, Grace Ministry. So very grace, please give our gratitude to Grace Ministry as well.
Fantastic.
And we just want to say thank you again for the opportunity. It's our pleasure, and I'm looking forward to seeing where it goes. And I'll go 1 year at a time, just so that, you know, I'll get to your 5-year mark, but we're going to go 1 year at a time.
I have no doubt about it. Thank you all so much. Have a wonderful
Thank you.
day.
Take care, everybody.